I always have a hard time getting started on my writing. How can I make this easier?
My first question to you would be to reflect on how much time you're spending breaking down and understanding the expectations of the assignment. So if you get an essay brief or kind of a project brief, and you think, all right, I need to immediately sit down and start writing something, but you haven't taken the time to really reflect on fully what's expected of you, what you need to do in terms of research and reading, what you need to construct in terms of an argument. Well, of course, you're not going to be able to start it because you're kind of flying into the darkness at that point. So we have a guide on understanding the assignment that can help you with that process if you think that that might be what's holding you back. But let's assume that actually you understand the expectations of the assignment, you understand what it is you need to do, but you're still having trouble making that start on it. I think one of the kind of nice writing strategies that you can use to combat that barrier a bit is to engage in a bit of what we refer to as free writing. So the idea of free writing is that you set initially a very short timer. I would say no more than 3 minutes tops. Get your topic in mind, so what it is that you need to write. Start that timer, and for the next 3 minutes, whether you're typing or writing by hand, you do not stop writing. So when you're free writing, you very well might end up writing things like, and then something, and I don't know what I would say here, and oh, what's happening? But you just keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. So do not stop. If you write by dictating, you can also do free speaking, where you don't stop speaking. Now, the idea of this isn't that you're going to end up with necessarily material that you can use in your final submission, but that you're breaking that psychological barrier of feeling like I haven't done anything yet, because you will have done something. So once you do that free writing, what you can do is then set a 5-minute timer and read over what you've written and see if there's anything that stands out in terms of little gems hiding there in the raw material. The phrasing will be bad, but just focus on the ideas. So focus on potential. Circle or highlight anything you see that looks like it might be usable. Then if that felt like a good start, set a slightly longer timer and free write again. So maybe now you free write for 5 minutes, and you can repeat that a couple times. So it's a way of breaking in where you're not actually using that much time. So if you give yourself 20 minutes, you can do 2 or 3 rounds of free writing and then culling your material. And that will give you an entry point where you might have discovered some key ideas that you can use to build an outline or a mind map and make a proper start on what it is you need to do next. Now, the other tip I would give you related to that mind mapping point is that if you have trouble getting started on your assignment, I would encourage you to take a combined critical and creative look at how you're defining starting on an assignment. So there are some writers who kind of define that starting point as, okay, I begin with my introduction, and then I proceed through the essay. That is the right way to write a paper. And it's just not necessarily the right way. So you can start your assignment at any point in it, first off. Maybe there's a particular kind of body paragraph that you know you'll need to write. So there's one key idea that you're excited about writing, and you have an idea of what you'll write with that. Fine, jump to that. Ignore the introduction for now. Ignore the rest of it. The other way that you can get a bit creative with that getting started is to not necessarily begin with rough drafting, but instead begin with an activity like a mind map, like a diagram. You can even do something like create a vision board for your assignment, where you sort of put images of key figures or visuals or doodles that represent ideas that you'll need to discuss. And again, what some of these slightly more creative activities might do for you is combat that feeling that you need to start the assignment proper and do it right the first time. A lot of times when we have trouble getting started on something, it does come back to either a little bit of writing anxiety or a little bit of perfectionism. And if you're dealing with that perfectionistic voice, it can be helpful to just give yourself the freedom to be a bit playful with what your start to the assignment looks like. And once you've engaged in those activities, you'll start to build your confidence around the content. And once your confidence with the content begins to grow, the confidence in your rough drafting will start to follow.